And welcome to this special segment of TIA Now right here from CTIA 2016. As IoT solutions become more mainstream, there's various industries and also verticals that are having to implement those IoT solutions. So what's the process in doing that? We have two guests with us today that are going to give us a little more insight into that process. We have Steve Brumer, he's with 151 Advisors, and next to Steve is Fred Yentz. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Telit IoT Solutions. And gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here. Steve, I want to start with you. Can you just sort of give us the 80,000-foot explanation of what an IoT-enabled function going mainstream means?
From a channel perspective, it's that more and more of the companies that have been traditionally in IT reselling are now trying to figure out how to participate in the IoT space. They're being asked by their clients, by their customers of decades, what is this? Trying to understand from an education standpoint, as well as from a position of what do I need? What am I buying? Am I buying a security system for my house? For my office? Am I doing point of sale? Am I trying to use IoT sensors? Trying to get that analytic data. So the IT reseller is becoming more, as well as the ICT resellers that are in there. So a lot of the telecom resellers who have traditionally been selling voice-related products or services are now being also asked to try and tell me as a customer, what is IoT? How do I use it? It's big, publicity is everywhere. You know, somewhere between the 50 billion and yesterday Ovum coming out with an 800 million number. Who cares? It's a lot of units. So many VARs are trying to figure out how to play in the space, where the money is, what their customers really want to solve by providing and implementing an IoT solution.
Fred, I want to ask you about the impact on the information communications industry as far as, I guess, the prevalence of IoT solutions and really IoT going mainstream.
Well, I think, the ICT space has been more tuned in maybe to IoT than just the standard IT space. And it's kind of where the convergence happens. And the telecom operators were providing data plans, so they were aware. Some of their distribution arms and channels were aware, but they didn't necessarily bring with them the enterprise integration skills that customers needed to actually realize the value. The IT community, while they're very good at understanding the enterprise value delivery, to them, connectivity and device management was a mystery. So we've kind of survived, if I will, the hype curve, and we're in this era of kind of needed implementation. So there's a lot of inquiries coming from the standard businesses out there to their traditional IT folks that ultimately need to help them, realize value. They're asking tough questions, and we need to make sure as an industry that we can give the IT VARs and the typical route to market for these solutions, for these kind of buyers, good, easy to understand tools, education, enablement, and ultimately access to products. So I think it's a time where convergence into that mainstream is forcing us to relook at different routes to market.
So when you're talking about a mid-sized business that needs to integrate IoT, whether that be a small enterprise or a mid-sized enterprise, are we talking about like a juicer, or are we talking about something more complex?
A juicer is not even close to it. Let's keep consumers out of this for now. But from a B2B and enterprise standpoint, it is asset tracking, fleet management, being able to get sensors from products and services that are out there, trying to look at beam technology, right? So I'm now going into retail programs and trials around trying to track you as you go through a Home Depot store. So there's so many new aspects of IoT that are broad, more than just wanting to know where I am with my juicer or my washing machine. And the Nest thermostat, right? So the Nest thermostat's an interesting one. That has revolutionized the IoT space from a consumer standpoint, but from a building automation, whole different realm of product offerings, integration products, integration services that are needed by those IT solution providers.
Fred, go ahead.
Think about micro fleets. There's distribution in, think of like the typical seafood distributor in an area, Atlanta, DC, South Florida. They might have a dozen trucks, but their goods are perishable. They want to know where their drivers are. They may not actually fit into a big telematics app, because most of the big telematics apps were built for big fleets. Mm-hmm. So there's all kinds of small and medium, mid-sized businesses or small enterprises that have an IoT desire, but they might have a different value proposition in terms of what they need realized at the, kind of at the application layer. So those are the guys that we need to figure out how to address. And I think the products are more mature. The channels are now interested in learning. So if we can deliver the right solutions, the right services, and the right enablement tools, like we talked about the other day, the IoT know-how, then I think this will start to move.
And we do have an issue around education. Not only educating consumers and customers and B2B enterprises about what is IoT, what can I do with all this data, how is it going to increase my efficiency and productivity, but education of the channels and the telecom resellers and everybody else, trying to make them fully aware of what are the intrinsic value benefits that they're going to bring to their customers. And there's a big long tail here. We're all used to recurring revenue streams in our business, and so IoT allows them to look long term. Those are sticky businesses. So when you put a sensor or you put a product in the IoT space into a customer, most likely those things are not churning off anytime soon. So that's a great new revenue stream that a lot of them haven't had the ability to have.
Steve, since you brought up the education element, Fred, I'll ask you about DeviceWise University acting as an advisor to the IoT community, or from a consultative approach anyway. Tell us more about that, how that applies to IoT solutions.
So again, I think DeviceWise University, which is, DeviceWise is our platform and our services, but it's a chance for someone to come in and really get end-to-end education and touch and feel to how IoT is put together. And what we're seeing is the mainstream IT distributors really want to feed their downstream VARs with these kinds of opportunities. So we have folks that are interested in sponsoring, weeks of education that are, kind of under their branded, think of it as maybe even an affinity program. Bring some of their leading IT VARs in to learn how to do this, let them go out and get success stories and then replicate. But it's something that they can skew up, they can distribute, they can sell. People can come in and participate. We have the ability to take and make it portable and take it to the customer as well for special on-site classes. But it's a way for people to really experience what it is. Everybody in the world is talking about IoT. A very, very small percentage of people have actually touched IoT and really know what it means to implement IoT.
Especially on the channel side. When you look at numbers from some of the major distributors in the United States and around the world, we're talking about a very, very small percentage of the overall revenue that distributor has in the IoT space coming from a select number of VARs. The guys that get it, the guys that can speak the language, understand from an education standpoint what it can do for their customers, what the return on investment and the value add is. So I think there's a lot of long tail opportunities for us to bring IoT to the massive amount of IT resellers out there, and I think that's part of our responsibility.
Steve, give me another example, aside from a distributor, as far as getting IoT solutions to market and also monetizing that.
Well, I'm going to go with the unbelievable case of Amazon, right? So Amazon is probably the number one leading driver of consumer-oriented IoT products, whether it be IP cameras or Nest thermostats, door locks, alarm systems, those kind of things. So Amazon is a driving force. And then retail. I don't know when the last time you went to an Apple store or a Home Depot or a Best Buy, and you look at their IoT sections. And I'm always a secret shopper. I did it actually on Monday at our local Apple store. You go there and you wait for the kid to come over, and you're not buying an iPad, you're not buying a MacBook or anything else, and you go, okay, well, tell me about this, connect the home automation stuff that's there, and they have no idea. So there's that education issue, but that's where mainstream is going. Everybody is looking at their phone. I gave a speech this morning in the startup lab area on show me the money in IoT. And one of the big things that we focus in on is making sure you understand the value that you have there. Where is the money? How are you going to find the customer? What are they going to buy? So consumer is so different. Big box retail, so different. IT, traditional computer retailers are different than everybody else too.
Thanks to both of you, Steve and Fred. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.